National Research and Innovation Agency, a synergy in an orchestra. Established through the Presidential Regulation Number 78 of 2021 about the National Research and Innovation Agency. To enhance science and technology's contribution to the national development and to improve the research and innovation ecosystem in Indonesia. The National Research and Innovation Agency is a government agency that is directly responsible to the President of the Republic of Indonesia. Consists of 7 deputies, supported by 12 research institutes, have 85 research centers, Executive Secretariat, Executive Inspectorate, Center for Data and Information, Center for Technology Services, and Polytechnic Institute of Nuclear Technology, Indonesia. Through the 3 directions: science and technology resources mobilization, providing a favorable research ecosystem, building an economy foundations based on research. The presence of National Research and Innovation Agency is to achieve Indonesia's goals as a developed country in 2045. Also to make Indonesia as a global reference for sciences, bringing advantages on science and technology development, policy making, and societies.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to continue our agenda. Next agenda is session 4, and we will discuss about comparative analysis report and feedback about NDC and LEDs part 2. And the speakers for this session are Mr. Katro Romandi from Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources and Mr. Ahmad Taufik from Ministry of Industry. This session will be led by Dr. Rosmeika from BRIN as a moderator. We would like to invite the moderator and the speakers to the stage. And to Dr. Rosmeika, time and place is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Annyeonghasimika. Welcome to the season 4 of Indonesia-Korea Net Zero Climate Technology Cooperation Forum 2022. I am Rosmeika. I will be the moderator of this session. The topic of this session is comparative analysis report and feedback about nationally determined contribution and low emission development strategies. In this session, we have two speakers that are already with us. The first speaker is Mr. Katro Romandi from Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. And the second speaker is Mr. Ahmad Taufik from Ministry of Industry. Before the presentation begin, let me inform how the presentation will be going on. First, all the speakers will be invited to deliver their topics. And after all the speakers have presented the topic, there will be an question and answer session. No further ado, now allow me to welcome the first speaker. Mr. Katro Romandi. Mr. Katro Romandi earned his master degree from Magister Technology of Management (ESTN) in 2004, and also obtained a master degree from Magister of Science Energy Management Twente University, Netherlands, in 2008. Now he is the coordinator of Energy Conservation Program Preparation, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. To Mr. Katro Romandi, you have 15 minutes. The floor is yours. Okay.
Baik, Bapak Ibu semua, yang kami hormati Ibu Moderator, Ibu Dr. Rosmeika, Bapak Ibu dari BRIN, Bapak Ibu dari Green Technology Center Korea. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam sehat bagi kita semua. Permohonan maaf. I'm sorry speaking in bahasa first. Permohonan maaf dari Direktur Jenderal kami, Pak Dr. Dadan Kusdiana, dan Bapak Dr. Hendrais Wahyudi yang berhalangan hadir karena Pak Hendrais Wahyudi saat ini sedang berangkat ke India untuk rapat, dan Pak Dirjen ada hal lain, agenda lain yang tidak bisa diwakilkan dan sedang sibuk-sibuknya membahas tentang RUU, Rancangan Undang-Undang Energi Baru Terbarukan, kaitannya erat dengan power wheeling. Terima kasih atas undangannya. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. Please allow me to present some slides. I've been given by the moderator to talk around 15 minutes, and I will try to catch up and try to give the overview of our energy sector, nationally determined contributions, and also the low emission development strategies that we've had. I mean, from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources point of view. So we can go next. That if related with the climate, and if we talk about the energy issue, there are a number of probably most important meeting that we had been so far, let's say from the NDC at the COP21, and then the net zero emission on the COP26, and also the Leader Summit on April last year. That, well, again, in the presidency of the G20, one of the pillars is related with the transition towards sustainable energy. Nationally determined contribution, the NDC, 29% and 41%, both shall be contributed by the energy sector. And last month, the Ministry of Environmental and Forestry already submitted the enhanced NDC. The energy sector should be put in number of 358, more than 314 earlier at the COP21 at Le Bourget, France last year. And the COP26, Indonesia will be able to contribute faster towards net zero emission in 2060 or even faster. This has been mentioned by our president, and now we talk about the realization of the nationally determined contribution that collected, that been in the energy sector, as the next slides, that currently at 2021, we have the number of 70 million CO2 emissions accumulatively, and coming from the renewable energy, energy efficiency, low carbon emitting fuels, clean coal technology, and post-mining reclamations. This report has been reported to the Ministry of Environmental and Forestry, and it's always being measured, always being verified. And we've done this quite number of almost 5 years now, and the formulation now is being more prepared by the economic carbon value of the presidential regulation 98/2021, and we'll see what will be the next of our task in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. If we talk about NDC now, if we again try to make more forward to more 10, 20, 30 years or 40 years front, on the next slides, we, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, with all the team comprised of the all echelon 1 member of the ministry, have the idea to make the trajectory up until 2060 related to the net zero emission in energy sector 2060. We come up with the result of the electricity demand on terawatt hour, 1,942 terawatt hour. So what will be the emission on the 2060 coming from energy sector? If we can see on the left side of of the slides, you might see 129.4 million ton still emit in the 2060. So we haven't yet get this number of net zero emission in the energy sector. Toward net zero emission, yes, but we haven't yet again have the result of net zero in energy sector. The net zero emission strategies will be done through gradual retirement of coal-fired power plant, acceleration of renewable energy, more efficient use of technology, let's say like a minimum energy performance standard of appliances, and also the application of carbon capture and storage in industrial sector. Soon, related with the industrial sector will be explained by our colleague, Pak Ahmad Taufik, later on to you. It's just, I already start to explain and just record it. Shall I move back to previous slides or just continue? I see. I'm sorry about this. I try to continue, although the recording style is not started yet, but and also the two main important is strongly related to the industrial sector is supposed to be coming from the electric vehicles, battery, and also smart grid to overcome what? Variable renewable energy. On the next slide, we will see the supply will be coming from purely what we've been doing, I mean, from the team, will be coming from the renewable energy. 708 gigawatt to provide to supply electricity demand for 1,942 terawatt hour. And most of them is to supply industrial sector, and the next will be the transportation sector. Well, again, if we talk about renewable energy development, nowadays we do have the RUPTL. Next, the RUPTL comprise how to reach project by project, project-based, under the utility PLN, try to come up with the number of 20.9 gigawatt renewable energy. We do have still 8 years to come, but 20.9 gigawatt coming from renewable, that's the challenge. And it's going to be built coming from geothermal, large hydro, mini hydro, solar, wind, bioenergy, and also base and peaker, two coming from the renewable energy. How this can be happen? I mean, for the net zero emission, it's going to be the super grid. Renewable energy is really site selection, cannot be moved. And super grid, renewable energy sharing resource can be done. And through this super grid, we hope that bioenergy, geothermal, hydro, solar, wind, ocean, tidal, and nuclear can be distributed along the island, the big islands of Indonesia. And if we talk about the key points, how to make this happen, the energy transition, besides renewable energy development, besides electricity grids, super grid, and sharing resource, the main important is the release of the presidential decree, the presidential regulation, I'm sorry about that. The presidential regulation number 112, 2022, related with the coal-fired power plant phase out. And also can be replaced by renewable energy. And PLN is an business area shall no longer or prohibited to more develop new coal-fired power plant. this is the main issue that we have to talk about if we are now talking about how to make Indonesia-Korea sustainable industry and regional development research and innovation strategy. Then again, we have to collaborate each other. And the last, the challenge and how to overcome the barriers. If we identify from the start, at the beginning and now, we have the troubles, not troubles coming, could be the barriers, economic and technology, local content, how can we provide the issue, the capability of the industrial to more have this kind of ability to produce more technology to be implemented in terms of the development of new or renewable energy. And last but not least, the synergy, the collaboration in accelerating the development of new renewable energy coming from us, the government, through regulations, and coming from the state-owned enterprise or the utility and also the private, and also coming from the R&D and academics to support the availability of alternative new technology options that can be implemented of the development of new renewable energy. And these all driving factors coming from the energy transition, as I earlier mentioned, the new renewable energy commitment coming from the presidents, and now we are in the middle of transitioning energy from fossil-based to renewable energy. And I think that's from our perspective, from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, and we look forward to have this kind of climate technology cooperation and talks, in-depth discussion with this excellent event. I do hope that through moderating by Dr. Rosmika, we can come up with the fruitful discussion and fruitful outcome and output to be delivered to achieve our target from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. On behalf of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity and having forward to get the in-depth discussion. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Katro, for giving us a very interesting presentation. Now we move to the second speaker, Mr. Ahmad Taufik. Mr. Ahmad Taufik obtained her master degree. It's a double degree. One is from Industrial Engineering in Bandung Institute of Technology in 2014, and the second is from Transportation and Logistic Management from National Chiao Tang University, Taiwan, and also in 2014. Today, Mr. Ahmad Taufik will give the presentation about green industry transition from decarbonization toward NDZ and net zero emission. Mr. Ahmad Taufik, you have 15 minutes. Floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Baik, Bapak Ibu sekalian, pertama kami sampaikan permohonan maaf juga karena Bapak Dirjen atau Bapak Kepala Badan Standarisasi dan Kebijakan Industri dan kemudian Bapak Direktur Pusat Industri Hijau tidak bisa menghadiri forum ini, forum yang sangat terhormat dan sangat strategik ke depannya bagi kita. Nama saya Ahmad Taufik, saya dari Pusat Industri Hijau. Mohon izin untuk mewakili beliau untuk menyampaikan beberapa materi. Baik, distinguished participant, moderator, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us in this forum. I would like to present our material presentation related to the industrial decarbonization and energy transition. Next. This is maybe the previous speaker already mentioned, but a part of the President Jokowi remark, but I would like to highlight about two things. The first one is President Jokowi want G20 to set example on climate change. Climate change is major threat to global prosperity and development. So President Jokowi want to solidarity, partnership, cooperation, and also global collaboration as well to more rise in our measure on climate goal. And then as our colleagues from Ministry of Mineral and Energy, Pak Katro mentioned before that one of the flagship program is energy transition. In energy transition, President Jokowi mentioned about the energy security, energy accessibility, and affordability. And we in industrial sector, in manufacturing sector, try to make a collaboration with the another ministries and agency to make this presidential order or framework make it happen. Maybe next. Yes, Dr. Aima from Ministry of Environmental and Forestry already mentioned in the morning session about the enhanced NDC. And now I'm not talking about the number because this is crucial time. After lunch syndrome, maybe you have to make it clear. So I not dig about the number, but the main contribution for industrial sector, not only in IPPU, in the industrial process and product use only, but in three greenhouse gases sector. The first one is energy, and the second is IPPU itself, and the third is waste. And about this sector, some people, some scholars, some research sometimes misunderstanding about the sector, because greenhouse gases sector is different compared to the economic sector. Okay, next. This is how we, Ministry of Industry, managed to achieve our climate goal. The first one, we already set up the baseline. We already set up the baseline for the greenhouse gas emission for 8 subsector. And we already have the NDC roadmap, but the original NDC. And we have planned to revise the roadmap according to the new our document enhanced NDC. And the second, we already published guidance or guideline related to inventory and mitigation to the industry. And the third, we develop online system, online platform to the industry, to the company, to reporting the greenhouse gas emission to the government. And this online platform already integrated with our national industrial information system, or maybe we already know this system, SINAS, we call it SINAS. Number 4, we conduct data verification regularly. We usually, after the company reporting their greenhouse gases emission annually, we conduct a verification. And then we reporting to the Ministry of Environmental and Forestry as well. And the number 5, we establish green industry standard and green industry award. In the criteria for those two, both in green industry standard and industry award, greenhouse emission intensity or CO2 equivalent per ton product is one of the criteria. And the another criteria is the energy intensity per ton product. It's also included in this standard. And next, please. This is the timeline. We built the taking progress on climate action in Indonesian manufacturing sector. We start in 2020 to 2012. We developed online system, but it's still spirit or not integrated with the SINAS system. And then we provide training for around 151 companies. And then they reporting the greenhouse gases to our system, online and paper-based. But after 2016, they only submitted the online-based reporting. And as I mentioned before, the data that they have been submitted is consists of 3 categories: energy, both direct emission, indirect emission, and indirect emission. And the second one is industrial process and product use, and then waste, water, sludge, and solid waste management. Next. And our greatest challenges is about to shifting the paradigm, because the climate action assume this is a cost center from the industry from the business entities. But we try to make a scheme or argumentation how to shifting the paradigm that the climate action is not only the cost center, but this is what also help make business more profitable. And this is the scheme or visual diagram, but the simple one. Green industry consists of low carbon energy, low carbon or energy efficient technology, waste management or circular economy, renewable energy, and material, energy, and utility efficiency. And for from our research, the energy bill of heavy industries account 9 to 30% of total production cost, and you can read one by one. But in what I'm saying is, when the industry implementation green industry include the climate action, they can cracking the boundaries and cracking their total production cost. Because from the efficiency they can gain cost saving, and then hopefully the sales of the green product is so increased, and then they can try to get the green investment on a sustainable funding. And the last but not least, the company can get the revenue from carbon trade. Okay, next. This is the decarbonization strategy for the manufacturing sector. The common decarbonization strategy for manufacturing industry, the first one is energy and resource efficiency, electrification, renewable energy, industrial symbiosis, resource reuse, and circular economy. And also, the company can innovate their new business model, and maybe this is the novel technology is carbon capture, utilization, and storage. And from the government side, we, Ministry of Industry, propose several flagship programs to achieve our climate goal. The first one is Green Industry Standard and Certification, as I mentioned before, and the Green Industry Award, and Green Industrial Park. And then to support the company, We also promote green public procurement. And this is a special case for Indonesia. Maybe we need to harmonization of regulation related to climate action, particularly for renewable energy and waste management. And the last one is carbon pricing. This is related to carbon trade CDM, GCM project. And this is the next. This is the example of data result from our verification in maybe in the last data verification, we held a verification MRV with the industry and the association in April 2022, and the result is the industry from the IPPU category, they managed the achievement of the greenhouse gas emission compared to the NDC, not the enhanced NDC. The number is around 102% above the target. And next, beside the main contribution, the manufacturing sector also support another NDC sector. The first one is decarbonization on energy non-industrial. For example, we develop a roadmap for electric vehicle and battery industry. And the second one, the manufacturing industry also install solar rooftop and renewable energy power plant on their captive power. And then we also support the Ministry of Mineral Resources, Energy and Mineral Resources in accelerated the biomass fuel development and utilization. And the second contribution from the industrial sector to other sector NDCs is decarbonization on household sector. We manufacturing sector provide or produce low emission energy efficient home appliances product. This is our support to the household sector. And we also promote waste to energy programs such as refuse derived fuel (RDF). Nowadays, the RDF developed or utilized by the cement industry. And the third one, next. Oh, sorry. Next. Okay. Yes. Number 3. Next. Okay. And the church, we also support the forestry and land use. Mr. Katro already mentioned about the restoration or reclamation, post-mining reclamation, and the industrial sector already have example about to support the program. The first one is limestone post-mining restoration by cement factory, and the second one is reclamation and post-mining rehabilitation by mineral smelters such as nickel. And the third one is mitigation of forest fire through fire-free village program funded by CSR from pulp and paper companies and other agro industries. And maybe this is our last slide. As I mentioned before, this is the challenges. This is our note from our point of view. The first one is many parties assume that the industrial sector is only responsible for greenhouse gases mitigation in one category, only for IPPU category. But the manufacturing industry in reality contribute into 3 greenhouse gas mitigation sector: IPPU, energy, and waste sector. This has an impact on our government allocation and access to the national or international climate change funding. And the second, for the innovative or alternative funding or financial support is needed to support our initiative on industrial restructuration program. This program will utilize low carbon, energy efficiency, machinery, or technology to greening the industry. The Ministry of Industry will prepare technology audit, energy audit, or utility audit to provide technology recommendation as part of the program. And I think this is the area of collaboration between Ministry of Industry and BRIN. We looking forward to make further contact about this thing. And the third note from Ministry of Industry is the Ministry of Industry will promote green public procurement to products that have been certified according to the green industry standard, will receive priority in the government procurement and correct the private sector later on. And I think this our presentation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad Taufik, for giving us such an informative and interesting presentation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the question and answer session. If you have any question, please raise your hand. And for the audience who join online, maybe can use the raise hand feature or write down the question in the chat room. Is there any question, maybe? Okay, please, Mr.
Thank you very much, Pak. My name is Parlindungan Purba. So I'm also from Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the ASEAN Committee Chairman. The question is both to you. I heard that it is more on the strategy and the policy, and it is amazing. My question is, how far that has been determined in the paper of law? That's very important. And the second, how is it implemented in the strategy of each minister? My question whether it is under the Minister of Planning unit or each minister has their own standard operating procedure. Because Minister of Industries has limited just for the industrial, and the other is the, so how is coordinating each other? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parlindungan Purba. I'll give the opportunity first to Mr. Katro to answer the question first. Please.
So, thank you, Pak Parlindungan Purba, for the interesting questions. I would say interesting questions. Why? Because to my understanding, if we talk about how far to determine in the paper of law, we do have a lot of regulations, policies, supporting instruments to do this kind of energy transitions. Let's say we are starting with the act, the law number 7, the tax harmonization coming from the Ministry of Finance, MOF. And then again, with the lead of the Ministry of Energy, we do have Presidential Regulation number 112, 2022. And before that, we do have economic value carbon coming from Ministry of Environmental and Forestry. This act, this government regulations, these presidential regulations come up with the solutions to achieve one goal, combating climate change issue. So a number of derivative regulations under these regulations, under the acts. And we, as I come here on the stage with the Minister of Industries, we have also
task, we do have also our part to commit to fulfill each part that under our responsibility. So it means that if Pak Purba asked how far to determine on the paper on law, we are now in the middle, in the progress of finishing to come up with the best solutions to get one goal. At least we have the same common issues, common perception to be raised during COP27 next month in Egypt, and also come up with for the input to the president of the G20 Leader Summit next month at Bali. So the next questions, how is implementing in each other ministries? We are now in the middle of having this progressing of finishing the tools to get the energy transition happening. I think the key issue, because we are coming from the ministries, our product is regulations. We try to have this regulatory impact assessment, what could be done and what not. And we try to have this kind, again, if we talk about energy transition, and it shall be comprised, talk to aligned ministries and also aligned stakeholders, let's say industrial sector, transportation sector, housing, buildings, and also last but not least, households. So these issues cannot be cannot be implemented only from the government part, and also could be coming from the part of the Kadin, state-owned enterprise, private, and also research center. This is my answer. Hoping that answered your question, Pak Paringan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Palungan Purba, for the next question. Yes, I agree with Mr. Katro said before. We have a lot of number of act or law on energy, law on industry, law on taxation, so many paper, law in paper. But yes, we have to harmonize this thing. For example, for the renewable energy, we have PLN, we have Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, we have industry, and so on. And we have our KPI, and we have to harmonize this climate goal, and or inject or adopt it in their KPI. And how to coordinate based on our regulation. The Ministry of Environmental and Forestry is leading sector from this issue, and both of us, Ministry of Industry and Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, has to submit the climate action. I mean the greenhouse gases inventory and mitigation to the KLK, to the Ministry of Forestry and Environmental and Forestry. And to Menteri KLK will report the greenhouse gas reporting, national greenhouse gas reporting to our President Jokowi. And maybe about the coordination. Oh yeah. Based on our regulation also, greenhouse gas emission for relating or category in energy category, we have to submit the report to the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources also. So we have good data. And the challenge is because we have two approach. The first one is inventory, and the second one is mitigation. Sometimes the data is not the same, not the same. But I think this is like a control to one to another. And I think this one of the best we can say is we already have regulation for the climate goal, to achieve the climate goal, I mean.
Okay, thank you. Is there any question? Or maybe from online committee? Is there any question for online? There's this is just statement from dia Rahmi Yunarti from UPTDS PNF SKB Provinsi Kalimantan Province. It's statement. I will read the statement. Sustainable Development Program and the collaboration between the local government, inspector, scientist, expert, the cooperative synergy with the university or institution, and also the local people on the area for making the best synergy test. And multi-integrated sector is also have the project and prospect letter for introducing the process, such as how to get solar system production from the expert or the bioenergy process start to the student around the base camp place. Okay. It's the statement and you can have the comment. And there is a question from Alwi. Is Indonesia have implemented carbon credit system in industry and or it is for Mr. Ahmad? Okay. Maybe if you have comment and or answer the question and the statement. Okay.
Maybe the last question comes to me, and I would like to answer or extend some information about the crediting mechanism, crediting, carbon crediting. Okay, yeah. In industry, right? Yeah, in industry. In 10 years ago, we maybe some of you know about the joint crediting mechanism or clean development mechanism. This is one of example of joint crediting mechanism or carbon trade. But maybe the concept of our carbon trade nowadays is different. But this is the one or the two, because we have carbon joint GCM, joint crediting mechanism with the Japanese government and in industry, and clean development mechanism. We have two example of carbon trade in Indonesia, in manufacturing sector, not only in manufacturing sector. Yes, Pak Katro, because the GCM also in IPP, in power plant also. And the first question? Oh, only a statement, okay.
Yeah. Thank you for the questions through the Zoom meeting. I'm trying to catch up what been asking through the Zoom chat. Currently, we will have three mechanisms on the carbon trading. The first is carbon tax. It should be applied this April, but somewhat the regulations to give the tax is never been it's not never been, but it hasn't been formulated. It has not been released, and shift to July, and then again delay to other months that we haven't yet understand or know when will it be commenced. So the first is carbon tax. The next will be cap and tax. The one that's been doing by the Ministry of Energy is make the emission cap on the coal-fired power plant emissions some as the ceiling for the emissions that can be that can emit to the air. So if some PLTU, let's say like a polyton PLTU, exceed more than such amount of the ceiling of the cap of the emissions, then this coal-fired shall pay some amount of money, or could be pay some taxes. And the next is carbon trading itself. Then this could be carbon tax, and then cap and tax, and then carbon trading, and the last is the carbon offset. So for those coal-fired power plant emit more than such amount that limited by the government, then they can build some renewable power plants, and it shall not be paying for the tax, it shall not be for the trading, but it can be exchanged through the carbon offsets. That's my my additional information. And now with the lead of the Ministry of Environmental and Forestry and with the lead of the Ministry of Finance, they are now formulating regulations to conduct this carbon tax, carbon cap and tax, carbon trading, and also carbon offset. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there still any question? Okay, please.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. And I'm Bok, and I'm the director of Korea-Indonesia Business Cooperation Center. Actually, today's seminar is a kind of collaboration seminar for cooperation between both countries. But today I have a lot of information about the Indonesian government policy about net zero goals. But now we are discussing about the carbon trading internally. But I'm more interested in carbon trading or carbon credit exchange between countries. So when you talk about this cooperation between both countries, maybe you can only think about the technical exchange or technical benchmarking or cooperation. That kind of cooperation can be called more indirect cooperation. I can say more direct cooperation, maybe some foreign investor can invest their money in Indonesia to cooperate the reducing carbon from Indonesian market. And to facilitate that one, we Indonesia government need to introduce ITMO, international transfer mitigation all outcomes, right? And is there any country which has a ITMO agreement with the Indonesian government? That's my first question. And second question, if there's no countries, and what is the Indonesian government position? Is it positive, negative, or neutral, or is going to open that door to the foreign investor? Because my company, KOTRA, is a government agency for trading and investment. So I have a lot of contact from Korean investors who want to invest here to get the carbon credit, because Korean government already declared that we will secure 30 million tons of carbon from overseas. So we're looking for a potential partner. So that was my highest interest in this seminar. So So first, whether is there any country who has already ITMO agreement with Indonesia or not? If there's no, what is the official position of Indonesian government? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Okay, Mr. Katro, can you give the response for this question?
Yeah, thank you. 안녕하세요. So I'm a little bit. What's your name, Pak? Mr. Bok. Bok. You can speak bahasa. How makes our conversation is quite easier later on after this session. We can talk in bahasa to make us more collapse, more collaborations. So if you talk about, is there any country currently we do have, I mean, with the lead of the Ministry of Maritime and Investment, we do have this Just Energy Transition Partnership, JETP. JETP comprised with the IPG, International Partnership Group member. A number of OECD countries involved with this JETP. Ministry of Finance also now, I think this week on the 14th of October, that's last week. It's last week on the 14th, during the IMF World Bank annual world meeting, we did have this kind of quite in-depth talk to have this joint statement between the government of Indonesia and also the JETP under the joint statement of Just Energy Transition Partnership. So if you ask about investors, you don't need to hesitate to not bring them here. We do have a number of projects comprised with the country platform. Country platform Indonesia is being now formulated by the Ministry of Finance, is under the Ministry of Regulations of the Ministry of Finance. The PTSMI will be the fund manager to have this blended financing to use as the facilitation of having clean energy fund to build renewable energy power plants, and also could be used as the other facilitations, so-called the CRF, the Carbon Reduction Fund, to reduce or to phase out the coal-fired power plants. So there is two buckets here. So if you would like to, again, invite your colleague to have, I mean, the country, the companies coming from South Korea, please do, Pak, come to our office, or could be come to Kadin, or could be come to Ministry of Industry. We are open arms to have you collaborate with us. So this is the issue that we have to come up with during our Indonesia-Korea Sustainable Industry and also climate cooperation.
So is it correct for me to understand that Indonesian government is pretty open for those ITMO agreement possibility?
Absolutely, Pak.
Okay. Good enough, Pak.
Yeah. And again, you can go to Pak Minister Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, or you can join to directly as one of the IPG along with other 6 or 7 OECD countries. You can do through that channel, or you can go through directly to government for each ministries. You can also do that. Thank you, Pak Bo.
But instead of investing in the fund itself, maybe there might be some other investor who want to do their business or a project which can reduce the carbon in Indonesian soil. Maybe they might want to invest in direct project. Is it also acceptable?
Absolutely, Pak. You just mentioned what are the projects you should want to implement. Energy efficiency, renewable energy.
Oh, I already submit one-page proposal to Mr. Kim Guan-young, so maybe later you will get that information.
Sure, sure. Please do, Pak. We will facilitate as the government. We are a facilitator, so please come to our office, to my office, or to Pak Taufik office. We are open to have collaboration with you, with the South Korea. Thank you. Or Pak Taufik, you want to add?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are running out of time. Oh, you. It's
Can
okay.
Can I?
Okay, sure. Of
Okay,
course.
this is a very honored to your sincere your feedback answer to the Park Polk. Is he got as a director for the finally we support them to Korea government, Korea industry, Korea companies enter to the Indonesia. There will be sustainable development cooperation. This is, we are working for in the government side. We just gonna encourage them, Korean company, come to about the carbon market. So there are two approach. One is we can support you bioenergy mix your plan. You have to more put many renewable energy instead of the coal fuel. That's why we are trying to manage the project implementation. So our partner is BRIN, is like a government to government. Also, we cooperation with the many company, Korean company, also cooperation with Indonesian company. Second thing is this. Finally, we have to make it bigger the carbon market in terms of the company, Indonesian company, the Korean company. That's why this question so much crucially important. This is like a G2G cooperation. We gonna initial step, but the next time we can do more company to company specific dialogue for the market, the penetration, market development, new product development. The product is I think the carbon strategy. So nowadays there are in Korean market also, there are global market, they are open to, you got already carbon tax, right? Also this is we're gonna do Korea government, Korean market have to learn about your thing. So anyhow, what I want to say, this is my specific, not my question, but my comment for this very crucial stepstone, this meeting, this forum, but we need your sustainable support, feedback from the carbon market cooperation between the country. So that's why, based on the comparative analysis, your government, all of the government, so most of them 5 ministers, including most of them maybe 7 ministers. The Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Energy, Marine Affairs, so the industry is like a link to one by one. Mainly, and this your plan is the energy saving, energy transportation, waste to energy, agriculture, the forestry, something like that. That's why I'm gonna suggest you maybe your industry, the government is very bigger. You can see the comprehensive the viewpoint. That's why could you gonna reading for it's like help them to intergovernment in the Indonesia. As GTC is under the Ministry of Science ICT, we dispatch Korean government dispatch our center into it's like a cooperation with you. Finally, it's like a Korean company. It's a cooperation with the Indonesian company. There will be it's like a backdrop, sustainable industry, regional development. Not only Java, Western, the other Kalimantan, Sumatra, there are many potential market about the carbon. That's why I am going to this Park Nugroho is very the workaholic guy. He got the cooperation with the Brida, Bapeda, right? Is it right? So Bapeda has got the Bapeda, BRIN has got a Brida, right? This is a local government cooperation for the it's like a bilateral cooperation. That's why I suggest you. I think you Park very is aggressive. You very is a good, gentleman. You understand everything. So next time we more the communication with the KOTRA and the GTC and your ministry and also as well as the BRIN, Bapenas, This is my comment. I thank you for your real feedback. Yeah, open to you. Open you any comment.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, I will comment that. Thank you so much for the statement or questions being raised by Mr. Kim, Pak Juan Kim. So, no need to start from the beginning, Pak. We do have so-called ICAF, Indonesia-Korea Energy Forum. This is quite a government-to-government basis collaborations between government of Indonesia and government of South Korea, and strongly related with the energy sector. So you can use this channel to collaborate with Contra and GTC, again with the collaboration with BRIN, to go to our office, Pak, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resource. We can bring our promising projects that you would like to invest directly. No need to make new MOU, letter of agreement, letter of intent. No need for that. We have long-term, not long-term, but could be Indonesia-Korea Energy Forum. Then it's always change information annually. So you can, I will share you my card, and I will give you my number, so we can talk through WhatsApp to my mobile phones. Then we can come up with more implementing projects that we can create. So I've been given an opportunity to learn nuclear power through KHNP, Korea Hydro Nuclear Power, and I've been studying there quite sometimes 1 or 2 months to talk much strong related with the nuclear power plant technology from your country. And now we do have this kind of a trajectory to build nuclear power plants in the energy transition, our energy sector transition, energy transition. So it means that we do have this kind of opportunity. We do have this kind of, promising cooperation toward after this FGD or so-called workshop. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have reached the end of this presentation. I want to say thank you for all the speakers for a very, very interesting presentation, especially about strategies to achieve the target of zero net emission, and also the decarbonization strategy to achieve NDC in industrial sector. Once again, I'd like to say thank you for all the speakers and to all participants for very attractive participation. Hopefully this presentation will give benefit for us. Finally, please give a big applause for the speaker, and thank you so much for your attention. Kamsahamnida.
Thanks to Dr. Rosmeika as a moderator, and for all speakers. Once again, please give a big applause for them. And please stay in front of the stage. We will give a token of appreciation. The token will be given by Dr. Muhammad Abdul Khalik to the speaker. To Mr. Katro and Mr. Taufik, please stay in front of the stage. We will give a token of appreciation. First to Mr. Ahmad Taufik. And second to Mr. Kato. And ladies and gentlemen, we will take a 10 minutes break for a coffee and praying time. And we will back to the next session on 2:50 to the last session of this today forum. So please enjoy your coffee and please take your time to pray. Thank you. ladies and gentlemen, we will continue to the next agenda. The last session of today's forum is panel discussion, the Reviving Net Zero Technology Cooperation Project. And for that, we would like to invite all panelists. First is Mr. Aris Prasena, representative from local government from Yogyakarta province, and Dr. Riyadno SHLLM from Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board, Mr. Jaya Wahono, Chambers of Commerce or Clean Power Indonesia, Mr. Danesta Febianto Nugroho from the Ministry of Tourism and Economic Creative, Mr. Timotius Aprianto from Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and all the panelists from Korea, GTPI, Kotra Jakarta, and KEPCO Indonesia. This session will be led by Dr. Nugroho Adi Sasongko from BRIN as a moderator. And to Dr. Nugroho, time and place is yours.
Thank you. Very good afternoon, everyone. Now we go to the end of this one-day seminar, and we discuss more. What is it? More implemented because of it's related with the project. Our topic for the discussion for this afternoon is verifying Net Zero Technology Cooperation Project. So everyone talk about the project today, this afternoon. So we start with the Korean panelists here. We have GTPI, Dr. Kwon Kim. Actually, he's half Indonesian now because he speak Indonesian. And we have panelists from Korea, Team Korea. Kotra. Okay. Kotra. Oh yeah, Kotra. Kotra, the Korean investment in trade in Indonesia, and then the City Oil is come. Okay, City Oil online. Oh yeah, Dr. Daniel, nice to meet you. And we have also some panelists from Indonesia here. Dr. Aris Prasena, you are here. From the representative from local government of Yogyakarta province. I wish you are here this afternoon. And we have also Dr. Riyadno from Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board. Okay. And we have also, Mr. Jaya Wahono.
Iya, tim Aprianto. Ada itu.
Nice to meet you, Pak Aprianto. We have Pak Jaya Wahono. He's the President Director of the Clean Power Indonesia, and also from representative from Kadin office, and also Pak Timotius Aprianto I mentioned before, and then Dr. Vicentius Jemadu, the Ministry of Tourism and Economic Creative. But I think one representative of him should come. Could you please display his Zoom face, please, from the Ministry of Tourism and Economic Creative. We start first from GTPI. Dr. Kim, maybe you can explain shortly about the GTPI to the audience here, because of maybe not everyone's know about the GTPI, please.
Boleh berbicara di sini?
Boleh.
Okay. Take a seat. Which one is better? Both. Okay. Okay. I'll be there. Okay. Okay. This is Kwon Kim. I'm okay.
Okay.
Today, this is like a climate technology forum between two countries. This is forum we supposed to it's like a stepstone, the initialization, but Minister of Energy, the Marine Affairs, Minister of Energy, the specialty said to me, no more initializing again, because you got already many cooperation between the country about the energy saving, the carbon market, something like that. That's why I will recognize his comment. This is not the initializing step, but anyhow, I'm expecting two sustainable the countries that are Indonesia development, regional cooperation, and in terms of the carbon market development. How can we do low carbon development in Indonesia? How can we do? It's like a supporting to a strategy followed by policy as action plans sustainability between the country in terms of the company. So I'm going to do. I designed this is a forum after comparison analysis the NDC LED's plan between the country. So you got the 5 or 7 specific sector technology, energy saving, transportation, waste management, there are industrial something, agriculture, and foreign forest, environment, something like that. This is your main sector. So I'm going to wanted to show the Korean analysis about the and this plan, and then we want to feedback from you the current situation of the policy strategy of your government, as well as your the implementation plan for NDC plan. So that's why this is a session 5. Until session 4, we got the feedback from you. This 5 is the crucial sector for our forum today. So this is a time for the open to everybody in terms of the policymaker, company, reader, and researcher, is community people. Everybody could share. Specifically, there are program development as well as a project development or whatever. So today, I'm gonna especially invite Korea best practice company. So after my short comment, I'm going to invite Dr. Ham Daniel. He is like a COO of the Korea city oil field. That's why could you gonna inform from his presentation shortly. Daniel, are you ready? If you're ready, could you gonna show your city oil best practice? I think I can give you 10 minutes. Is it okay? If you want time, let us know. Are you ready, Daniel?
Yes, I'm ready. Can everybody see the slide?
Yes.
Yes, great. Thank you. So, hi, I'm Daniel, Chief Operating Officer of City Oil Field. Let's start right off. So these are the current methods of plastic waste treatment: incineration, which burns the plastic; landfill, which you bury it underground; and traditional pyrolysis, which you melt them. Korea Environment Corporation, which is the government agency of Korea, classifies pyrolysis into non-traditional pyrolysis method of city oil field and all other traditional pyrolysis methods as another. According to data released by the Korea Environment Corporation, referred to as KECO, traditional pyrolysis methods shows various limitations. Safety-wise, it is hard to find a company that hasn't gone through an explosion accident and are also failing to commercialize due to lack of demand for their produced low-quality oil. At the same time, they have introduced city oil field as a non-traditional pyrolysis technology that uses only electricity and produces high-quality recycled oil. Comparing to the traditional method, which is manually operated, city oil field has automated the whole process, maximizing workers' safety, convenience, and management. Moreover, traditional method generates odor and smoke from the chimney during the combustion of inputted waste, while fixed bed sealed catalytic reactor which is our city oil fields facility, has solved problems such as vibration, noise, dust, smoke, and odor. In addition, traditional method is combustion type with auxiliary fuel, whereas city oil fields facility is non-combustion type that uses only electricity. I would like to emphasize the importance of only using electricity. In Korea, traditional pyrolysis method is classified as an incineration facility and is considered an air pollutant discharge facility. However, RGO system, which is our city oil fields facility, is an indirect heating facility that uses only electricity and is excluded from air pollutant discharge facilities. This itself is a huge advantage when acquiring an environment license. One of the three key features of RGO technology is that the entire process is below 300 degrees. Plastics produce harmful substances such as dioxin when exposed to temperatures above 300 degrees, which also means none is produced for the RGO because the entire process is below 300 degrees. Secondly, it uses wave energy, which is eco-friendly and not heat energy. In other words, smoke is produced only when combustion occurs. And since city oil field is non-combustion method, you see the picture. Finally, there are no chimneys in the entire process, minimizing air pollution. This is the layout of one 24-ton facility, RGO facility. FYI, RGO is the abbreviation of regenerated green oil named by city oil field. It consists of 4 phase 1 decomposition facilities that treat 6 tons of waste each and restores solid waste plastic into heavy oil in a liquid form, and 1 phase 2 refining facility that refines heavy oil into high quality refined oil with a volume of 20 tons. Total floor space to install the whole facility in the picture is merely about 10,000 square meters. If needed, 4 sets can be additionally installed in parallel to treat 120 tons of waste daily, or a total of 10 sets to treat 240 tons per day. Now, this is the interior of city oil fields facility. The basic principle of the facility is that the inner temperature is heated to 270 degrees through the heater rods. Ceramic balls attached to all sides will react, emitting enough wave energy to decompose waste plastics. The key here is that only vinyl and plastic components will be affected and decomposed by the wave energy out of all the input waste. In summary, solid waste plastic is decomposed into heavy oil with 9 to 40 carbon rings through phase 1's physical catalytic reaction. It is then selectively refined into refined oil with 9 to 15 carbon rings through phase 2's catalytic chemical responses. Starting with basic research in 2011, City Oil Field has developed the original technology from experimental stages with a 10-kilogram machine, then went through pilot research with 1-ton machine. Next, commercialization research was done through 7-ton and 5-ton machine, and we have finally optimized to a fully automated 6-ton facility. Currently, we have.
Halo.
Hello.
Ji, sore Mas. Belum, saya masih di Kadin. Bentar.
Can you? Is it okay to hear me? Hello.
Daniel, please continue.
Okay. So currently, we have completed all empirical research by establishing a joint demonstration facility with the Seoul Metropolitan Landfill Management Corporation, the national organization of the Republic of Korea. 2 patents were acquired through joint demonstration facilities with the national organization. And on December 7, 2021, new excellent technology certification was acquired for the entire process after strict examination by the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy of Korea. Let's take a look at the name of the technology named by them. Since the process without a chimney, it is fixed bed and sealed. Second, using a catalytic reactor means using City Oil Field's original technology of wave energy from ceramic balls. Third, low temperature decomposition of waste plastic defines the process is under 300 degrees. And lastly, we have been certified as production technology of refined oil through separate refining facility. In addition, City Oil Field has obtained various national certifications. Mainly, we are registered as an innovative product by the Korean government, won a grant award as a technology that can contribute to marine waste treatment from the Minister of Oceans and Fisheries. And for 2 consecutive years, we were awarded ESG Management Grand Prize by the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Energy, and Ministry of Environment, and the Ministry of Education. Okay, in the end, a total of 3 products can be produced with the superior technology of City Oil Field. First, renewable fuel that can be used for industrial uses. Secondly, regenerate naphtha that can be used to recreate plastic. And lastly, residues residing in the form of carbide after the process, which can be treated to be used as a solid recovered fuel. Before going to the details, let's look at the production yield first. First of all, standard waste or household waste has an average waste plastic of 40 to 50%. So the yield rate circles around 40% on average. When only PE, PP, and PS are provided by the separation and screening company, recovery rate is at least 80%. Similarly, agricultural waste, such as greenhouse vinyl, also has a recovery rate of 80%, as well as plastic labels or films attached to the plastic bottles. Compressed styrofoam ingots also have the yield rate of at least 80%. On the other hand, industrial films have the recovery rate of about 40%. However, although the recovery rate is only 40%, remaining aluminum foil is in fine condition to recycle due to it being very neatly separated from vinyl. In conclusion, heavy oil is produced during phase 1, and through phase 2, renewable fuel and regenerated naphtha are produced. In particular, regenerate naphtha is at a level that can be something keep asking something. Okay. Well, okay. So everybody can see me right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. First of all, heavy oil and renewable fuel were verified by Infinium, a world-renowned additive company. And the results show that heavy oil was rated as a ship fuel and renewable fuel as kerosene, a high-quality recycled oil that does not require any additives. In fact, if you look at the test report received from the Korea Petroleum Quality Authority, the renewable fuel of City Oil Field is at the level of diesel and kerosene. More importantly, for the recycled fuel to be used for the industrial uses in power plants, it can only be approved when the air pollutants are below a certain standard during the combustion. Delightfully, the results of the combustion tests conducted by the National Institution on Renewable Fuels show it's not only below the standard, but producing 0.000 pollutants such as dioxin and furan. Let's look at one actual case for the renewable fuel. In Jeju Samdasu, Korea's largest bottled water company, PET bottles, PET bottles are well recycled However, the labels attached were not. So they have approached us and co-conducted a national campaign called Label to RGO, modeling IU, a famous Korean celebrity. We were able to collect huge amount of labels, which were treated to renewable fuel and donated to a nursing hospital for heating. As you can see on the news release, Korean petrochemical companies have mentioned that pyrolysis oil from plastic waste needs to be mixed with original crude oil to actually have a commercial value, whereas City Oil Fields naphtha does not need any other extra supplementaries for the NCC process. This has been confirmed by many conglomerates that actually handle naphtha. After testing City Oil Fields regenerated naphtha, GS, Hanwha, and KPIC evaluated it as equal to the naphtha they are handling. As you can see on the picture, traditional pyrolysis oil needs the process from 1 to 4 happen, since it needs dilution with crude oil. This will cause environmentally hazardous substance during the process. However, City Oil Fields regenerated naphtha skips these processes and can be put into chemical process right away. Let me introduce a practical use of the regenerated naphtha. City Oil Field has produced regenerated naphtha from household waste provided by GS Group, which 50 tons of it was brought back to GS Caltex to make plastic containers. It was so important that the Environment Corporation of Korea announced it directly in 2022. Picture on the right is an article by GS Caltex regarding the completion of chemical recycling from the waste plastic into usable plastic. Lastly, let's talk about the residues after the final process. First of all, please keep in mind that if only pure plastics are input, there is near to none leftover residues. In the case of household waste, only plastics are restored to renewable oil through wave energy, and non-plastics remain as they are, as you can see. The picture on the left is an instant noodle packaging. For food packaging, vinyl on the outside is restored to oil, and the aluminum foil on the inside is not affected at all and remains intact enough to recycle. When this aluminum foil melts due to heat, it releases harmful substances that are fatal to human body. But after City Oil Fields process, it remains intact, causing no harm. Residues on the right are paper cups, magazines, and newspapers. You can clearly see the pictures on the paper cups and the letters written on magazines. This is the proof that the RGO is a non-combustion facility. After combustions, letters and pictures would be far from being recognizable and would have melted in sludge form. Since City Oil Field is a non-combustion facility, greenhouse gas emissions can be reduced much more than conventional combustion methods. According to an article published by conglomerate called SK Geocentric in Korea, the traditional combustion pyrolysis method can reduce carbon dioxide emissions by up to 2.7 tons compared to incineration when treating 1 ton of plastic.
Daniel,
Then,
any slides
yeah.
still have left?
I have 2 more.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
because it's already lost of the time.
Okay. I'll skip to the most important pages. Okay. This is the last one. This is how City Oil Field is proposing the innovative idea to Korean local governments. In Korea, nearly half of the combustible waste incinerated is vinyl and plastic. Vinyl and plastic are the ones causing the emission of the most harmful substances when incinerated. On the other hand, these vinyl and plastics are valuable resources for the City Oil Field that can be completely restored to high quality regenerated naphtha through the RGO facility. So we propose for these tracts in one hand or resources in another, depending on the perspective, to be put into RGO facility beforehand, rather than just dumping into incineration. This will give the effect of killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Eco-friendly way of incineration, total waste to incinerate reduced, and finally, recovery of renewable oil. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Daniel, for nice, very excellent and comprehensive presentation regarding the RDF and polymer derived for the derivative product. So we move to the next speaker. We mix after Korean, we go to the Indonesian speaker. I wish Pak Riyatno be there and ready for a short presentation. Pak Riyatno, due to the limitation of the time, we please squeeze to be 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Pak Riyatno from the BKPM, Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board. Please welcome Pak Riyatno.
Thank you. Thank you, moderator. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Salam sehat. Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me to this event, Indonesia-Korea Sustainable Industry and Regional Development Research and Innovation Strategy and Project Cooperation. And it is my honor to say a few words on the topic of promoting net zero emission through investment project. Based on update sorry, test.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
Based on updated NDC 2021 data, Indonesia GHG emission reduction target cover 5 sectors with total reduction target of reaching 834 or 29% to 1,081 million tons CO2e in 2030. Indonesia already has a long-term strategy for low carbon and climate 2050 to explore potential and more ambitious long-term commitment strategy for acceleration in achieving net zero emission. These are 3 points in NZE principle. The first is increase utilization of new renewable energy, reduction of fossil energy, and utilization of carbon capture and storage, 2 important sectors to realize the net NZE and the forestry sector and energy. As you can see on the slide, we can see implementation indication of energy transition in Indonesia. In 2025, we have replacement plan for electric stream power plant and mini gas power plant with the power plant that exhibit renewable energy. In 2030, it will be in the first state of subcritical retirement, 2035 for the second state, and 2045 to 2055, we will try to gradually make the retirement of ultra supercritical electric stream power plant. From this shifting the power plant sources to renewable energy. And furthermore, the government is preparing energy transition mechanism and has launched a presidential regulation to support the development of renewable energy. From this slide, we could see the initiative and scheme from Energy Transition Mechanism, or ETM, made by the government. And it can be seen that ETM will be an alternative for coal passing down process to get NZE in 2060 or earlier. The ATM itself consists of two parts, which are Carbon Reduction Fund, or CRF, and Clean Energy Fund, or CEF. CRF is a fund that is used to retire PLTU that are less environmentally friendly before that contract expire, while CEF is fund used to build renewable energy plant. There are several mitigation actions from forestry to achieve NDC target. The first is deforestation reduction. Second, increasing the application of sustainable forest management principle, both natural forests and implantation of forest. And the last, rehabilitate 12 million hectare or degraded land by 2030, and four, restoration of 2 million hectare of peat by 2030 with a success rate of 90%. Next, we could see together another type of scheme made by to reduce emission is the voluntary carbon market, or VCM, development in Indonesia. Voluntary carbon market enabling carbon emitter to offset their unavoidable GHG emission by purchasing carbon credit generated by project target to remove or to reduce GHG from atmosphere. Moving the right of on the screen, here a list of the project along with it is estimated annual emission reduction, where the majority of the project came from agriculture and forest sector. Nothing that the fact as the country with abundance of natural resources, most of VCS project in Indonesia and in the agriculture and forestry sector. Next, apart from the effort made to reduce emission in achieving the net zero emission, carbon capture, utilization, and storage could be also became a strategy to reduce emission. From this slide, we could see on the how the CCS work, starting from the capturing process, where all CO2 sources that came, for instance, from gas processing, industry, and power plant are captured and will be processed in CCS facility. The next step will be to transport it and utilize it for another use, or it could be stored from the future utilization. Ladies and gentlemen, CCS or CCUS have huge potential to support the clean energy transition in Southeast Asia. CCUS can encourage faster Southeast Asian economic growth, but in line with the net zero emission. Also, CCUS interest in Southeast Asia has grown in line with international trend. Currently, 7 potential projects have been identified and are under initial development in Southeast Asia, covering Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Timor-Leste. And by 2050, through the implementation of CCUS on a large scale, CO2 capture is targeted to exceed 200 MT, covering all industrial, fuel, and power generation sector. Southeast Asia will require considerable investment, growing at the average of almost $1 billion per year for the development of CO2 capture technology by 2030. Next, as I mentioned before, currently 7 potential projects have been identified and are under initial development in Southeast Asia. And from 7 potential projects, 5 of these projects under Indonesia. Tangguh project operating by PP, Gundih project operating by Pertamina, Sukowati project operating by Pertamina, new development of Seka Kemang project operating by Repsol, and Banggai Sulawesi ammonia project operating by Panca Amara Utama. In this slide, next in this slide, we could see several CCS and CCUS projects in energy sector that can potentially contribute to the carbon reduction. As we all know, the target from Indonesia in reducing GHG emission from the energy sector within 30 years from 2010 to 2030 is 314 to 399 metric tons carbon dioxide. And as you can see of the list, several projects starting from Lapangan Gundih to DMA project in Tanjung Enim have its cumulative carbon dioxide that can be generation in 10 years. Next, the objective of sustainable investment project are to build master data of investment opportunity that contain comprehensive information needed by investor and eliminated various uncertainty factor often faced by the investor before stepping into the construction phase, such as the clean and clear land status, availability of raw material, and workforce. The output and target are the pre-feasibility studies or pre-FS document. Pre-FS include analysis of legal, administrative, and technical aspect, economic feasibility, social and environmental impact, business model scheme, government and stakeholder support. The total project in the year 2020-2021 is 47 projects in 34 provinces. And the output display we can see on the slide are pre-FS, info memo, and infographic, and special based on project information. There are some projects within 47 projects that being offered by the government that are some projects that sustainable to promote reduction of emission, including smelter nickel, cobalt, sulfate, industry for batteries, and became integral part of electric vehicle industry. In total, we have 47 projects with an investment value 155.12 trillion rupiah. In tourism, there are 12 projects with 5 projects 0.78 trillion rupiah. In the industry, there are 15 projects with 51.92 trillion rupiah. In economic zone, there are 14 projects with 48.25 trillion rupiah. And in infrastructure, there are 6 projects. Project information can be accessed through the regional investment potential website. You can see all the project opportunity through the website, and where on each project there will be a detailed and supporting data ranging from its profile, its resources, its investment policies, and its market aspect and its opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I wish to congratulate the BRIN and Green Technology Center Korea for its meeting. It is hopeful that the forum can create specific and actionable outcome for promoting inclusive and sustainable investment to support in line with SDGs. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Ariadno, Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board. Thank you very much. I highlight the project summary: 47 project investment value, 155.12 trillion rupiah. That's quite huge. and it's very challenging for the running the project. So we move to the next presenter because we have 8 panelists today this afternoon. So we move to Pak Jaya Wahono. We mix between government and the private entity. Please welcome Pak Jaya. Limited time, 10 minutes.
Thank you, Pak Nugroho, for inviting me to represent Kadin and also METI, Indonesian Renewable Energy Society. Could you please, not that one, the other one. No, not this one. Okay, in the meantime, maybe I just going to give you some introductory about what I have done in terms of Kadin member and also as a private sector. So as you probably know about the new presidential regulation on renewable energy, this is not a feed-in tariff. So maybe some people were confused whether this is a feed-in tariff or a ceiling price, because this new regulation is about ceiling price. So it doesn't give you a feed-in tariff. So there is a negotiation between the private sector or the IPP with the PLN. And as you know, PLN is the, okay, good. Yeah. Okay, so now we start from here. PLN focusing on the replacing the most expensive power plant, which is the diesel fuel power plant, and because diesel fuel power plant found mostly in eastern part of Indonesia, then the presidential regulation give more incentive to eastern part of Indonesia, because this is the reason. As you can see, most of the population live in Java, and the consequences of that is the Java island has a very high electricity consumption per capita, maybe at par with the neighboring countries like in Malaysia and Thailand. But if you talk about eastern part of Indonesia, we're talking about sub-Saharan Africa. Their consumption per capita is less than 200 kilowatt hour per capita per year, which is quite low because Indonesia average consumption of electricity per capita is about 1,000. So eastern part of Indonesia has a lot of catching up. Now the private sector, in my opinion, can bring the investment into this area if there is a proper regulation and incentive. So I will talk about the incentive later on. Next. So what we are proposing is to replace the diesel gensets with the hybrid of local renewable energy power plant. In my opinion, there are 3 that can be found everywhere in Indonesia, in every island all over Indonesia: hydro, solar, PV, and biomass. So why we need to combine all these 3? Hydro is seasonal, solar PV is intermittent, biomass is base load. So if we don't provide the base load power plant, then the replacement of diesel genset will require a very expensive battery storage, which in many cases goes up to 30 cents per kilowatt hour. So our target is 12 cents. This is what the presidential regulation dictate. More than 12 cents, it's not possible. PLN will not buy the electricity. So if our target is 12 cents, in some cases 15 cents per kilowatt hour, then in my opinion, those three need to be combined. Next. We did this in Mentawai. We built the baseload power plant using the local source of biomass, which is the bamboo. What is the Korean word for bamboo? Take? Tenamu? Tenamu. Okay, very good. So I will remember that. So we use tenamu because it's a local species, and the community already planted bamboo as for many uses. Just like any other tribes all over Indonesia, people in Bali has bamboo. People in Timor, Flores, they plant bamboo for many uses. So I think this is a good way of bringing the participation of the local community. This power plant was built with the US government funding. So this is one example of bilateral cooperation that is successful in Indonesia between US government and Indonesian government under the Bappenas. So maybe Korean government can copy this model, but more targeted to the eastern part of Indonesia to replace all the diesel gensets. And I think once that moving, then the private sector will come in and scale up. Next. So this power plant was inaugurated by Minister of National Planning Agency of the head of Bappenas back in 2019. It was Professor Bambang Brojonegoro at that time. And he mentioned that this is what we need to scale up to other part of Indonesia, not only in the small islands, but also in the medium size island, like in Timor, Flores, Maluku, Halmahera, and so on and so forth. Next. This is what I'm talking about regarding the incentive. The government just established a new agency. It's called Indonesia Environmental Fund, or in our language is Badan Pengelolaan Dana Lingkungan Hidup. It's under Ministry of Finance. They have already 20 trillion rupiah, that's 1.5 billion US dollar, ready for deployment. There are two requirements for this disbursement of this funding. Number one, it has to go directly to the community. Number two, it has to be used for land restoration. So it means that we cannot create deforestation. We cannot take over the land from the local community, and we will have to create economic benefit to the local community. I think that's a good purpose of this fund, and I think government is ready to deploy this fund all over eastern part of Indonesia. Next. And this model is featured in the bioenergy for landscape restoration and livelihood, published by C4 ICRAF. I wrote this article, or the chapter 14. You can download this book from C4 website. It is featured as a best practice in Indonesia because bioenergy cannot be separate from the land restoration and livelihood improvement. So this is a good way of bringing the economic impact and environmental impact with a commercial project. Next. And the project has been featured also in Rural Electrification, Alliance of Rural Electrification. They are based in Brussels, Belgium. So they feature several projects all over Southeast Asia and also South Asia. There are quite interesting parameters here that they feature. biomass classification that using the community as the producer of the biomass has the highest economic impact. It creates 450 jobs and it mitigates around 3,000 tons of CO2 equivalent per year compared to the similar capacity of hydro or solar PV only in lower tens or hundreds in terms of emission avoidance. So if we're talking about the impact, if we're talking about social impact, if we're talking about economic impact, if we're talking about greenhouse gas emission reduction, I think Indonesia has a solution, which is biomass using the community as the producer. Next. So we are doing cooperation also with C4, ICRAF, and also NIFOS. I think NIFOS is Korean agency as well, right? National Forestry of Korea. So what they interested in Indonesia is also to build a model, not only for bioenergy, but also biofuel and biomaterial. So when we're talking about biomass, I think if we're just talking about biomass as a feedstock to the power plant, we are missing the big picture. Biomass is good for everything. It's good for biofuel, it's good for biomaterial. Whatever the highest value of that biomass, then we will have to prioritize. And then the waste of this process can be used as biomass for power plant. So if we build this model, biomass for feedstock to the power plant, biofuel and biomaterial, to achieve 1.5 degrees Celsius of temperature increase, then we have the feedback loop to create this land restoration all over Indonesia. And the land restoration itself, also the carbon sequestration. So we have multiple benefits. Not only we have a carbon avoidance, but we also have carbon sequestration. Next. So how big is the land that need to be restored? 14 million hectares all over Indonesia. There's the breakdown, or every province, 14 million hectares. If we have to use the state budget, then it will require around 33 billion US dollar. So that's the money that the government doesn't have right now and has to come from other sources. Next. So the key message that I would like to give you this afternoon is bioenergy strengthen economic incentive. That's the most important. I mean, we're not only talking about energy transition, but also livelihood improvement. These are the people who doesn't have the means to develop their economy. If we can help them, then we have other benefits from the project. And I think this is a priority. It's not only about energy transition, but also we have to address energy poverty and energy security. There are four R approach, that's what we call it. Right crops in the right landscape with the right business model, respecting rights, the rights of the people who live in that land. That's something that I totally believe. We're not marginalizing those communities. We're bringing them as the economic actors. They're not just objects, but they are the subject of this kind of development. And we definitely going to address about the competition of land for food, fuel, and environmental protection. By bringing the local community, they know better than us about what's the best use of their land. Then we're bringing them and taking it inputs from them. Next. So the project in Mentawai using biomass gasification for several reasons. The one reason is for the multiple revenue. Not only that we produce electricity, but we also have a byproduct. It's called biochar. And biochar is a way of carbon removal. Microsoft, Amazon, other multinational company now using that as a carbon offset. So this biochar doesn't need to be shipped out. It can be returned back to the soil and become a carbon removal, and the multinational corporation pay for it. Microsoft pay for $200 per ton to be put back to the soil. So this is, I think, the good way of bringing incentive other from the government. There's also incentive from overseas that can be used to replicate this project all over Indonesia. So electricity, biochar, and all carbon sequestration from the land restoration, those need to be combined in one project, not to be separated. Next. So this is something that I bring up in the this morning about the gap. There's a huge gap. Government want to achieve about 41% of emission reduction by 2030. You know how much the gap? $240 billion US. Where the money is coming from? It's not coming from the state budget. Government already indicate that there's about $7 billion dollar of gap in land restoration, or FOLU they call it, and there's about 232 billion gap for energy transition. And the private sector is not going to be a charity. Private sector need to have the return on this investment. So $240 billion need to be returned if it's coming from the private sector. So private sector need to use this investment wisely, and government need to attract, give incentive, give the regulation that really support for investment to come, and bring the technology, the proper technology. If Korean government has technology that is applicable in this regard, making the local community become the biomass producer, so they have a improve of livelihood, and land restoration, because that's where the government will come in for restoring the degraded land or critical land, then this technology will have a big market in Indonesia. Next. So how big is the market? There are about 25,000 villages all over Indonesia that doesn't have reliable and equitable electricity. Imagine that, 25,000. I'm not talking that they don't have electricity. They do have electricity, but not 24 hours, not 7 days a week. Some of the villages only has about 4 hours per day of electricity, and some of the days during the week, they don't have electricity. So to bring equitable and reliable electricity, it will require some investment. 25,000 villages all over Indonesia, mostly in eastern part of Indonesia. And then 14 million hectares of land that need to be restored. We already mentioned that. And then about 2,000 to 4,000 megawatt, it's megawatt of diesel gas that need to be replaced. Diesel fuel is imported fuel in Indonesia. It drains our state budget. If we can replace that with the local renewable energy sources, it helps the government, it helps the community, and it will bring the private sector to invest with the right technology, right regulation, right incentive. Next. I think the President Jokowi already mentioned that for the G20, he will bring the message to all the participants that we need to recover together, recover stronger. What it means? It means that we have to create jobs. Jobs that is not only in the big cities, but also on rural villages all over Indonesia. Jobs that will bring livelihood improvement. So I think that is important, the most priority in Indonesia. Number two, of course, we want to have energy equality, universal access of electricity, not only in Java, but all over Indonesia, especially in the eastern part of Indonesia, because they are rich of natural resources. We have fisheries, we have many agriculture product, forestry product that we can bring in to the global market, but they don't have access to electricity. How can they participate in the global market? So that's something that we need to focus on. And lastly, we also need to reduce cost of generating electricity. Why spend 40 cents per kilowatt hour, 50 cents per kilowatt hour because we use diesel gensets, when there is a 12 cents, 15 cents per kilowatt hour of renewable energy that can be used to replace those diesel gensets. We can do it today. We don't need to wait until G20. We don't need to wait for 5 years. We don't need to wait until 2030. We can do it today. Next. Last one, call for action. I think Pak Nugroho asked me to bring the message what I expect from the Indonesia-Korea cooperation. I think number one is very easy. Everybody knows that we need a technological roadmap. How we can cooperate to have this technology and not only technically feasible, but also commercially feasible. So the private sector can come and invest. That's number one. Number two, we need to develop our competence and knowledge capacity, not among the academics only, but also among the developers and contractors, because we are the player. If we don't, I mean, the companies in Kadin or METI doesn't understand how to develop a social impact project or re-environmental impact project, how they can access the funding. So don't just focus on the academic sector, but I think this community need to bring in the participation of the private sector. And number three, let's think about electricity that bring prosperity. Electricity that help the local community bring additional value of their natural resources. I think that's more important than just the energy transition. With that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Jaya Wahono. Thank you, very excellent presentation. We have still 4 presenters for the panelists, but unfortunately, Pak Timothy mentioned that he should go. You are here, Pak Timothy, from Kadin Yogyakarta. Pak Timothy, you are here? Pak.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Sir.
If you want to be first, could you please start your sharing for this afternoon panelists, please?
Yeah, please.
Don't be too long as previous.
Yeah. It's very quick. It will be very quick.
No worries. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this very wonderful opportunity to share about how could we derive sustainable technology in order for us to tackle lots of agenda, especially deriving the net zero technology corporation projects. So next, responding to all of the wonderful speakers that have spoken today, next. It's quite interesting for us, and we know that almost 40% has the same perception and the same content, the same substance of these ideas of how could we share all the initiative, all the projects, especially related to the net zero emission agenda. So it's just reflection for us that besides all of those technical agenda, it is now the world is under what we call as a new development paradigm. So we don't know whether the net zero emission and whether our next frameworks is still working or not, because today today we are in the situations of VUCA, vulnerability, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. We all hope that all those frameworks is currently working now. That is why we are here today. But unfortunately, our world today is under the situations called, let me quote from the Anthony Giddens, that it is now under the era of manufactured uncertainties because of the situations of the very serious energy and food and energy crisis after the invasions of Russia to Ukraine. All of the frameworks that we have spoken can be ineffective. That is why I would like to give reflections to derive the initiative of the technology cooperation to reach the zero emissions. The challenges is first is coping the VUCA situations. So the second will be accelerating the joint action agenda. Now we have the word mega-shift phenomenon. So the third challenge is the inevitable global paradox. The global paradox here, one of the interesting point is that those who are at the small scale level can be more adaptive compared to those who have a very big scale. Then that is why small medium enterprises is very significant, including in Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Yogyakarta, in Yogyakarta special regions. 98% of our members belongs to small and medium enterprises. So we have three main priorities programs in Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Yogyakarta. First is enhancing the capacity of small medium enterprises, and the second is related to transformation digital, and then the third is upskilling human capital. So remembering the climate-related disaster timelines, we are now under a big threat. We know from the disaster response to disaster reduction from very beginnings, the General Assembly endorsed the Yokohama strategy. Until now, we have another frameworks. Next is to we are now trying to strengthening what we call as a risk management in disaster. So disaster risk reductions. Chamber of Commerce and Industry in national level and in regional level. We starting this year, we have all the department related to disaster risk reductions. And then challenge in achieving the net zero emission, including in our regional networks, is the first is we need to have what we call as an energy audits. Many of you have mentioned that we definitely need the situation, the current positions of the energy problems and needs, including in Yogyakarta region, special regions. We should have what we call as an energy audit results. And next. So the next challenge is also related to roadmaps. So before we go further for the technology and cooperative projects, we need to know which roadmap we are going to have to be an action platforms. Next. Yeah. In these slides, I would like to mention that we have many framework currently. We remember the Hyogo framework for action for reducing climate-related disaster. Before. Sorry, the previous slide. Yeah. And then we have a sustainable development goals. We have Millennium Development Goals, and now we have also Paris agreements and so on. The question is, which framework right now is going to be effective in this current situation of the VUCA? Next. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So Kadin DIY, we have worked with several initiatives in our regional networks. First, our initiative is to have a transformative, inclusive, and collaborative spirit. We have a digital transformations. We have worked with more than 5,000 small medium enterprises to transform them into digital platforms. And then we have a capacity building for SMEs, and then scale up human capital, as we have mentioned before, including also education concern and campaigns for having a mitigation and adaptation for climate change. Next. Next. And then, of course, we incorporate all, next, we incorporate all the agenda of the both. Yeah, this is some initiative that we have mentioned. First is drafting environmentally friendly office and travel policy guidelines for the organizations of CADIN, and hopefully will be adopted for members in our office. As other have mentioned before, that we have also environmentally friendly office and travel policy guidelines, including also how could we run the green development mechanism within the company and also the networks. And then the second is promoting green company models. My company is a 100% export company for garments to Europe, 80% to Europe. I'm the commissioner of foreign company in Bantul district, and our company in Yogyakarta is one of the model for what we call as a green company. We have bought the power from state electricity company with new and renewable resources. As before mentions that there is a power plant grid for new renewable resources, so our company use this source. And other mitigation and adaptation programs in our company with 2,300 employees. And then the next is supporting and enhancing green and sustainable startup. One of them is an existing Kalasan Valley area. We have about 6 startup company that works with Internet of Things and artificial intelligence in the area of Kalasan. It's near the Prambanan Temple. Those 6 startup already has projects to use the digital technology in order to enhance green and sustainable innovations. So would you please, later on, you can visit our area to have their very wonderful initiative from this startup, including one of them is very interesting smart agriculture system. And then the next is initiating research on new and renewable resources. So it is quite interesting. I hope that our friends from Bapeda DIY, Regional Planning Agency, to explain further about, we have also experiences in Yogyakarta related to projects on new and renewable resources, using the ocean wave, using the solar panel, and also using the waste to energy. In Piungan landfill, it is still a trial to have what we call a study and research on the possibility to have waste to energy projects. And then the next is research and development of traditional electric vehicles. Just about 1 month ago, and currently it's still under the study. We have worked with 3-wheel vehicles, or in traditionally called becak. In Yogyakarta, we have thousands and thousands of becak. And in Jakarta, of course, we cannot find a becak anymore. But in Yogyakarta, we still have the becak. Unfortunately, those becaks is using the combustion technology, is using the motor. And now we would like to change to have innovations from the battery in order to make those becak vehicles using the electric motor. Next. Yeah. I think those some initiatives that we have we can share from Kadin. So we are welcoming BRIN to have further cooperation, especially with our friends from Korea. I myself have a very interesting experience in 2009, where when at that time we joined a great initiative in the conference called Ecology, Economy, and Accountability. Then we have worked with many stakeholders at that time, 2009, in Legrong Front Beach in South Korea.
Thank you, Pak Timothy.
Thank you so much, Hamza Hamida.
Ya, thank you. Matur suwun, Pak. Salam buat teman-teman dari Jogja. Karena
Ya,
waktu
siap, Pak.
terbatas, limited time, we go directly to Pak Danesta Nugroho. He seems that he's already standby since in the morning. Monggo Pak Danesta, please.
Baik, terima kasih.
Presentation is better.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Moderator. Very good afternoon everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. Pak Moderator, can you hear me?
Yeah, very clear. Please go ahead.
Let me share my PowerPoint. Yeah, deeply apologize for my deputy, Pak Vincent Estimadu, since he taken an annual leave. So he asked me to represent him regarding Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy based on our program. So let me share. I want to share what we do and we did until now in Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy to create an our output is how about tourism destination is low carbon and more sustainable. So this is from the activities of tourism activities. They create more carbon emission, more than 49% of activity affecting the total carbon footprint of tourism is transportation, and 25% of world gas emission come from food waste in hotel. So this is approximately around 8% of world carbon emission regarding tourism activities. What is the impact on tourism, Indonesia of tourism? So there are 4 big problems as we can see in the screen. The water changes, damage to coral reef, sea level rise, and environmental debates. So, but we can see that in our screen, my screen, that our performance as Indonesia improved from 2019 to 2022. So we rank in 32 in 2022. Is this, but can we highlight is health and hygiene still low in 82nd rank, and tourism service infrastructure is 91st rank, and the others is the socio-economic resilience and condition is still 80. So tourism service infrastructure, health and hygiene, and socio-economic resilience and conditions still become our weakness and threat in tourism sector. So based on presidential directive on carbon emission reduction in RPJMN 2020-2024, so we hope that greenhouse gas emission reduct in 2024 by 27.3%. So how can we do that? In tourism sector, we create, this is our indicators. Maybe I will skip the goal and output. So we have 4 indicators. Based on this indicator, we create our program. So the first indicator is energy efficiency on hotel, restaurant, and other tourism activities and facilities. So the second one is ecological protection, how we create the sustainable tourism development. The third one, how to reduce the reduction of carbon emission, especially from the transportation. And the fourth and the last one is the public awareness, how we improve the community-based tourism development to aware about the tourism sustainable. So this is the 3 big program in our ministry since 2020 until now. We have Anugerah Desa Wisata, Indonesian Tourism Village Award, Sustainable Tourism Village Certification, and Waste Management Assistant. One by one, I want to I want to show you about what we did in tourism Anugerah Desa Wisata Indonesia pada tahun 2000 in 2021 until 2022 now. So we have two assessment categories: one the attraction, souvenirs, public toilet, CHSA, village institution, homestay, and digital creative. This is our categories for Anugerah Desa Wisata Indonesian Tourism Village in 2021 until 2022. So we hope that we can create a world-class tourism destination, competitive, sustainable, able to encourage regional development and the welfare of the people based on villages. And then the second program that we did is tourism village certification to ensure environmental sustainability. In total, we have 174 indicators. So we certificate the tourism village. So they will gain the tourism village certification based on Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So this is the global standard we use to certify the tourism destination. In this case is tourism village. There are 4 big categories: sustainable management, social economy, cultural, and then the last one is environment. The last activities, so we have waste management assistance to effort to reduce carbon emission through waste management. This is the regulation. Regulation we use is the Perpres number 83 in year 2018 about marine debris handling. So we have this regulation. So we create, based on this regulation, we create 2 programs. The first one is waste reduction program, how to reduce, reuse, and recycle the waste. We reduce with coordination of local government for the ban on the single-use plastic, and how to we create do's and don'ts available to destination managers. The reuse ones, we create the program, and we suggest to educate on reducing the use of single-use plastic and zero plastic. And we also create the training and campaign. The last one for the recycle, we educate the public, the managers, the tourists, and also the local community in the tourism destination based, use the training and campaign. The second program, we have the waste management program. Look, this is a list of our activities. We coordinate with garbage down, and also the TPA and the destination manager. Education campaign of the use of household and industrial goods, waste sorting education, resort system up to transportation, waste recycling training, and processing into new products in collaboration with the waste bank. So this is our hope. This is our output and outcome to carbon reduction effort through waste management. This is our program until 2024. This is the big program. We have 3 big programs, but under that 3 big program, we have many of activities and indicators. So the actual is we have to prevent, restrict, reuse materials, recycling, energy recycling to the landfills. So application of the inverted pyramid paradigm through the 5 one. The first one is implement management on upstream. The second one, role of landfills is reduce and more environmentally sound. Implementing of the reuse, recycle, and reduce and recycle. 3R. Reduction waste incineration or open dumping. And the last but not least is reducing carbon emission from CS4 produced in landfills. So I hope my presentation is not too quick, but yeah, I think this is the last one for my presentation. We hope that we can work together, especially from the Ministry of Korea and maybe from the other sector, because we have our same objective to reduce the carbon emission through activities of tourism sector. Maybe that's the last one for me, Pak Moderator, Pak Nugroho. Thank you and very good.
Pak Danesta Nugroho. We have same name, Nugroho. We still have two more, but we give, is that okay, Pak? From Kotra, from Pak Aris Prasena first, from local government. Pak Aris, you are here, please.
Yeah.
Could you come up your camera, please?
Yes. Ya, terima kasih Pak Nugroho.
Yeah, thank you for waiting. Monggo Pak Aris. Perlu pakai slide atau tidak pakai slide?
Oke, saya sudah kirim slide. Apakah saya harus share screen?
Boleh, silakan.
Oh, sudah.
Okay. So presentation is better.
Yeah, due to the limit time, I'll do my presentation in a quick way, Pak Nugroho. Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Yogyakarta Provincial Government, I would like to give a short presentation regarding on implementation and challenges on GHG reduction in Yogyakarta Province. Okay, next slide. Yeah, next slide. As an introductory, I would like to show you the profile of Yogyakarta Province. As shown as in the map, the Yogyakarta Province area shown by the red polygon is a small province in the short middle part of Java Islands. In 2021, the total inhabitant is 3.7 million, and most of them lives in the urban area, which are Yogyakarta City, Sleman, and Bantul. And the most densely populated area is also in the city of Yogyakarta. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so let's take a look on the economic structure of Yogyakarta Province. As mentioned, as explained by Pak Danista before, the tourism as the main driver of the economic structure in Yogyakarta, as consequences produce the emission of the carbon for some sectors such as transportation, waste, and etc. So next slide. Yeah. So from this map we can get the area of the national tourism national strategic area in Yogyakarta. This from the city until to the south part of the Yogyakarta, the Gunung Kidul. Okay, next slide. Yeah. So yeah, based on the data from 2000 until 2021, we can conclude that the energy as a sector that contributes the greenhouse gas emission highly. The transportation is the main subsector that contribute the emission in the energy sector. So it can be happen from the mobilization of the person and the goods and so on. Okay, next slide. Yeah. From this data, we can know that the transportation is the main contributor as the greenhouse emission in a period of 2000 until 2021. Next slide. Yeah, the greenhouse emission from agriculture is quite low, and then increasing till 2011, and then decrease until 2021. Okay, next slide. Yeah, the greenhouse emission from the waste sector, from the wastewater. Next slide. Yeah, this is the reduction based on sectors from the last 10 years. So we can see that the agriculture has a significant reduction in the greenhouse in the Yogyakarta province. Next slide. Okay. Yeah. As discussed before, we have some policies in greenhouse reduction in the development planning area. But the question is how we can have some intervention. Means that the budget allocated to deal with the greenhouse reduction, and then how we can revise, how we can make some monitoring and evaluation to greenhouse reduction. And the important one, what is the recommendation or action plan that we can conclude as a quick win to make a reduction on the greenhouse gas. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this is the national action plan, and the provincial action plan already done start from the 2012. So we have the goal in 2020, and also we can hear that the international support, and with the international support, the target in the national level. Okay, next slide. Yeah, from the monitoring and evaluation, we can have the data that the achievement of low carbon development in 2010 and 2020, that the Yogyakarta province already make some action, that the achievement is 46% into the target. Next slide. Yeah, there's also the climate budget tagging initiated by the finance ministry, that the 5 years in the 2017 and 2020, that the energy sector have the highest budget to greenhouse reduction in Yogyakarta province, since we have the most emission of the greenhouse gases from the energy sector. So what is the strategic issue and the main intervention in the Yogyakarta province? So for the next slide, we can get the, yeah, from the program penyelenggaraan lalu lintas, the transportation sectors. The national level deal with the energy transition, but the provincial level, we still have the problem with the public transport and the massive of the using of private vehicles there. Next slide. Yeah, there are some intervention already accommodated in our development planning plan for 5 sectors, from forestry, agriculture, energy, transportation, and waste. Okay, next slide. Yeah, the last one, we have a main problem with the urban transport sector, that the despite the public transport is operated, but this is still in the low load factor. So the attention or the involvement of the people to using the public transport is just very low. So as I mentioned also by Timotheus, we in process that to develop the non-motorized transport that can contribute to the sustainable transportation tourism development. Then that's the key, that the involvement of the people is very significant, that we can make a reduction of the greenhouse gases, despite the supply from the government is already there. Maybe that's all, Pak Nugroho. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful, Paris. Nice, excellent example of the achieving of the low carbon development in Yogyakarta. We have one more last presenter from Kotra. You can also make some summarize from all of the information from all panelists. Thanks.
Okay.
Selamat sore, semuanya udah capek sekali ya. Terus saya mau langsung ke konklusi. Today, actually, I found that today's seminar for the collaboration between Korea and Indonesia for net zero goal, right? And everybody knows that Korea has a capital and the technology, and Indonesia has the resources and the opportunity here. So, how can you bring the capital from Korea to Indonesia? It will be one of the solution. And how can you adapt Korean technology in Indonesian soil? What kind of technology you will take is a key question, right? And related to what the bring capital mean, how can you attract Korean investor for natural goals? Today I found a solution because I already made a question to government officer, and she told me that the Indonesian government is open for ITMO, right? Internationally transferred mitigation outcomes. So Korean companies, Korean investors can come here and perform some project, a carbon reduction project, and they can take the carbon credits. But Indonesia still have something. Indonesia can reach the goal for renewable energy mix also. So it can be a win-win strategy. So why the Korean government are interested in those doing that? Because Korean government also has a goal to reach. And they already declared that the Korean government will get 30 million ton of carbon from overseas. So who will be our potential partner? I'd like to strongly recommend Indonesia as a counterpart. Just like a KF-21 fighter plane, we can cooperate again. And related to technology, actually, most of technology in solar or biomass or hydro, every technology already proven. And if you want to adopt, the most easiest way is just spending money. If you can give more money than other countries, you can reach that goal very easily. Just like Vietnamese do. Vietnamese, they give more money as a power purchasing agreement price, much higher than other Asian countries. So a lot of solar company invest in Vietnam, and later they cannot accept any more, and they already reached the goal for solar. But problem is, Indonesian government doesn't have enough money. As other gentlemen already presented, Indonesian government needs $240 billion US. You don't have that money. So you cannot depend on the established technology, on established renewable energy sources. But I think Indonesia can find a solution as a breakthrough from Korean technology. I will recommend two things. One is nuclear. Everybody's scared of nuclear now, but Korean government focusing on developing SMR, small scale nuclear energy. So it's much safer than for traditional nuclear power plant, much smaller, but it's fit for your small city. Even IKN will not be such big in a short period, right? So you can take it. Or other recommendation is green hydrogen. As I understand, Indonesia has more than 40% of potential geothermal energy, of global geothermal energy. So, but the Indonesian government cannot develop it properly because most of the geothermal place is remote area. So you cannot easily connect it with your established grid, electricity grid. But green hydrogen, if you can produce green hydrogen 24 hours from the geothermal plant, you can easily move out to the city area, or even you can export it to the world. Because in right now, most of the advanced countries need green hydrogen. It's much more expensive for them to produce by themselves. Korea is in the same situation. But Korea has a technology to produce it and distribute it and transport it. So I think Indonesian government geothermal energy and Korean government's hydrogen technology can be combined, and we can find a solution in the near future. So that's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The excellent. Actually, that's conclusion. Yeah. If there is any question from the floor or from the Zoom, online, please welcome, but only one or two. Okay, please directly. Any microphone, please? Meanwhile, from Zoom, please, any? Once question from Zoom. After that, we close the.
Yeah, thank you for a lot of the good speech and the solutions. This was very meaningful conferences. Appreciate this effort as well. And there were also a lot of good some ideas were discussed today. The SMR and maybe green hydrogen could be a possible solution, but I also thinking maybe take some time. So for now, it's actually could be the realistic one of the realistic solution we can think about is actually the current IPP scheme in Indonesia. So recently, as mentioned, it's actually the CER, actually now it is the transferring the CER to Korea is actually being discussed. And one of the possible scheme Indonesian government can consider is actually the PLN is right now is actually, as far as I heard, is actually thinking all the CER happening from the renewable project would belong to PLN. And that's of course it should be some use for the contribution for the PLN and the national determined contribution. But at the same time, maybe the PLN can think about maybe sharing some portion of the CER to IPP player so that they can lower the tariff. Actually, the PLN has lowered the tariff already. So as one of the IPP player, we are worrying some kind of counter effect from the new regulation, because compared to the previous the investment, the environment, right now there's actually the tariff and the other condition is actually a bit quite difficult. So the benchmark price recently issued is quite tough for IPP player. And one of the solution maybe PLN government can think about is actually but still open for the CER belong to the investors. Maybe even though a lower tariff, the more investors can think about the renewable investment still. So I think maybe that's the kind of because it's actually currently is blocking just all the CER happening from there. But even it's actually the CER valuation in Indonesia or the voluntary market is still very low. So maybe it's better to convert it to the more the mandatory market.
Okay, please mention your name, please, and your institution.
It's Leonard An from Alex International Indonesia.
Okay, but I think the questions can be directly goes to Pak Jaya because it's he also doing the clean IPP project. Please welcome Pak Jaya.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think I already touched that issue in the beginning of the presentation. I mean, it's quite obvious. The government of Indonesia wants us to focus on eastern part of Indonesia. It's not they're not looking to replace coal-fired power plant with renewable energy in Java. Because for 3 reasons. Number one, the cost of generating electricity is already quite low. Number 2, they have oversupply. And number 3, they really don't want to have another so-called competitor. Because if you supply electricity directly to, say, direct customer, like a commercial and industry, then they will lose that customer. Right, the PLN. So it's quite obvious the government wants us to focus on replacing diesel gensets, not the coal-fired power plant. There is no DMO for the diesel genset or even natural gas. The natural gas have DMO, but the DMO for natural gas is quite different than the coal. So coal DMO is the price on the power plant, but the natural gas DMO is on the gate price. So you will have to PLN will have to add transportation and storage. So it's quite expensive. But PLN calculate for the natural gas to for bringing natural gas to say Nusa Tenggara in eastern part of Indonesia, that's $12 per MMBTU of natural gas. So if we use renewable energy, then it's quite competitive. And I think the other thing also, the government of Indonesia mentioned the presidential regulation doesn't really give the incentive, because the incentive will have to come from developed countries to the Indonesia. So Indonesian government expecting developed countries to have a contribution, bringing the low cost loan or borrowing through the climate change mitigation cooperation and all that, and also the technology that can be scaled up here. So any technology can have a huge prospect of market access, not only for Indonesia, but also the whole ASEAN. So I think this is what the Indonesian government really expect from the technology provider, from the developer, from the investor, not to just to rely on the feed-in tariff, but they will have to bring other benefits. But in biomass, I mentioned that there is incentive from the Indonesian government, but if we combine that with land restoration and livelihood improvement. So poverty alleviation is still a big priority here in Indonesia. So anything that can help the local community become more prosperous in any way, then the government will provide incentive. But if no social impact or economic impact to the local community, then it's quite difficult to ask the government of Indonesia to bring incentive. So that's my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to add one more thing. Maybe you follow the recent news about the carbon tax, and then the Ministry of Economic Affairs of Indonesia postponed the implementation of carbon tax until 2025. So it's quite. It should be this year, but postponed after the election, the presidential election.
Yeah, actually, we want to contribute to the renewable development, not the coal or the gas development. And, yeah, actually, just thank you for the answer first of all. And it's actually maybe it would be great. It's actually maybe we can rethinking about the sharing the CEL coming from the IPP the project, so that actually that can be a win-win solution for PLN and investor, because PLN can consent the final tariff with a lower one if in case actually PLN share some of the portion of CEL to the IPP player. I think that's the kind of,
Thank you. We can continue.
If the PLN take the CR by force, it is violate the conflict with the ITMO plan scheme. So maybe if the parent people is here, they might understand what's going on. But if they haven't here, maybe they need to discuss beforehand. Okay.
We need to discuss. We extend the discussion after the meeting. Thank you. And one more question from the Zoom, if there is any. Before we close the seminar for today, any question from the floor? Okay, from Pak Ugay, from BRIN, to Mr. Aris Bapeda DIE. You are here, Pak Aris? Okay, you are here. I hope in the future, the measurement of the greenhouse gases CO2 equivalent is based on the classification of the input-output tables of the Yogyakarta province. It is very important for sustainable region development plannings. I think you can address the question, the answer, Pak Aris, directly, please.
Yeah, fully agree that the evaluation will be as a key data to development planning document. But from the monitoring and evaluation, we are under the coordination of LHK Ministry, and also from the climate budget tagging, we are also in the coordination of the finance ministry. So maybe from this seminar, we can also make a recommendation for those ministry to have a enhancement, also the better coordination. Thank you.
Okay, that's very short answer, but since the times is run out, so I think I'm very sorry that we have to close this last session 5 of the panel's discussion for deriving the net zero technology cooperation. So thank you very much for all of the panelists. give very excellent presentation and comprehensive. So hopefully we can realize those of the discussion in the real project as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to Dr. Nugroho and all the panelists. Please once again give a big applause to all the panelists.
Okay, Dara, thank you for your enduring. Dara, stay until this is this is the time for it's almost heading to 5 p.m. Too late. Thank you for your strong commitment, your health. Anyhow, I'm going to Dara, instead of the Park Hasunan, chairman of the energy manufacturing BRIN, I'm going to ask him 30-second closing remark. Park Nugroho. Before that, there are GTC, GTPI design. This is like a sustainable the local development of the carbon, also management as well as the circular economy. Our center is focusing two keywords: is circular economy and carbon management. That's why any opinion from your policymaker, company, and the NGO, international organization, whatever, whoever, contact me. This is our open to discussion from now on. Anyhow, we need some policy generation. And second, to technology proof. And third one, there's a program, project development with the finance alliance. In order to completely, we need some capacity build up technology education for you, and also using all kind of the data information knowledge you put at the 24 hours. There are platform development. Platform, it can be done by the role of responsibility, decision making. This is what I want to do. I'm now pursuing in GTPI with the corporation GTC Seoul, Korea. That's why, thank you for once again your endurance today. Terima kasih banyak. Could you gonna just 30-second concrete remark instead of the Pakasnan? Okay.
Limited time. Okay. Thank you, Pak Kim. The key person of the organizing committee for this event, Indonesia-Korea Net Zero Climate Technology Cooperation Forum 2022, be held and happen until this afternoon. I just want to highlight three things on behalf of Pak Hasnan. The first, all of the discussion of us today between Indonesia and Korea communities, everything can be happen. We can focus on three things on the cooperation. The first is the green financing. Green financing, it's mean that the Korea as the developed countries, the developed country could help the Indonesia to finance the project Indonesia on the green financing project like Korean Exim Bank or the ODA project. The second is the transfer of the technology. I think everyone's in this morning session and afternoon session highlight the technology transfer between Korea to Indonesia. And then the last is community-based development. It's mean that capacity building, that knowledge sharing from the Korean expert to Indonesia is very important for us. So once again, on behalf of the National Research and Innovation Agency, I congratulate to all of us that we can still conduct these activities happen and successfully for these seminars happen. And thank you very much once again. We meet as soon as possible with the realistic project that we can run in the future. Thank you very much.
This is the last session. Everybody come on the stage. Group photo. Come. Everybody except one. Please come inside. Please come. Everybody. Some sitting, some standing. Somebody is in here, somebody is on the stage. Everybody, please. Please, everybody come here on the stage. You are center. The center. Okay, everybody.
Please, semuanya, everybody come here. Abdul, everybody. Anissa, ayo. Ya, 사이사이로 보내면 사이사이로 negara jadi masalah. Negara. Oh, thank you again, Mark. Thank you, my friend.
Kirain tadi gua This is the end of our agenda today. Hope this interesting discussion can have a significant impact on the development of sustainability, the industry, and regional development in the future, and strengthening our cooperation and net zero climate technology. On behalf of National Research and Innovation Agency, also Green Technology Korea, I would like to say thank you all for making time to joining us here today. We look forward to seeing you on the next event. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay happy, successful all. Kamsahamnida. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Thank you.